Call the roll. Say here if you are. If you aren't, don't say here. Pat Wheeler,
Here.
John Barrett,
Here.
Kate Bliss,
Here.
Bob Blair,
There.
here. Karen Schultz,
Here.
Linda Robinson,
Here.
there.
Oh, there she is.
Didn't I say Lori?
No, no,
No.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
here.
Lori Fairday. Wow. All right. It's nice to see you all. Thank you for coming in on a nice day. You probably prefer to be out raking leaves or pulling weeds. Would anyone care to weigh in on the minutes of the previous meeting? Approve, disapprove? Acknowledge?
Approved. I make a motion to.
Approve? Minutes? Okay, all in favor? Pat?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Kate Bliss? Bob Blair? Mhm. Karen Schultz?
Aye.
Linda Robinson?
Aye.
And Lori Fairbank. See, you weren't forgotten. You were just temporarily overlooked. Can we hear from the director?
Gladly. So to start, I have some financial information. We have taken in $7,262 in donations. Before you all get excited, that includes $7,177 from the formula grant that was just deposited.
So can you say the numbers again?
Yes, 7262.
Yep, even.
Yep, and then,
Donations.
well, it'll be, I think 50 cents, yeah, because 7177.50
Yeah.
is from the formula grant. $84 is from Tai Chi and yoga donations. Our total expenses was $865. We do not currently have any part-time wages, so that is at zero.
Not even Meals on Wheels?
That doesn't go under wages. It's from the expenses, it's expenses. It's not wages. You guys don't get paid. You get mileage.
That's true.
So my director wage for the month is 290592. This will slightly increase from here until the end of the fiscal year. I did go in front of the personnel board last week and they did approve 4 additional hours a week for me, so that'll bring me up to 28. They just want more data and tracking of what is successful and where we're going and what is being done. And they did mention that, you know, the more people that could prove that things are being done. So I have to work on, which is further in it, but the marketing and trying to get people to events and whatnot. Which brings us to our first item for me, is van transportation. So we do currently have the MWRTA, does continue to run the Connect for Berlin to Hudson, Berlin, and 3 stops in Marlboro. We are seeing still about 30 rides per month. That is between 9 and 11 riders. So the same 9 and 11 riders are taking it 30 times. Yes, John?
Wow.
I was curious if these are state grants.
This was a grant between WRTA and MWRTA. They applied for, like, we applied for, but they helped us
Okay.
do all of the paperwork. And Bob, you were on for that. Do you remember? Is it state or is it federal? Do you remember? Because I came in when it was being approved.
Grant it was.
Yeah.
But MWR, Metro West applied for the grant
Yeah,
and they administer it. So when somebody calls for a ride, they're calling Metro West.
yes. So, you know, we still, that is great to have 30 rides to the 3 locations. We do have some unmet needs for medical appointments still without running the van. We have people that need to go to Worcester, we have people that need to go to Concord, and we are unable to help them at this time. Monday is the vote for the town, and there's a lot going on behind van transportation. So if they take it from our budget, we don't have any money in the budget to run the van because they're only leaving us with $10,000. So we have to kind of come up with plan B for both sides, which I'm kind of on plan C, D, E, and F.
Just wondering if we got rid of the big van, could we get like a smaller type van thing that someone be more apt to drive than that big thing?
I mean, it doesn't take a special license to drive that.
It's big.
If we get a smaller one, does that then reduce the number of passengers too?
It would.
Right.
But how many passengers do we have ever at the most?
Well, that in previous has been 1 ride at a time, 1 person. So something to consider, if we are able to,
Has to have a lift though. How much money are we really saving?
Yeah, because it would have to have the,
Right.
that, and I think that was part of at the very beginning,
Mm.
you guys getting it customized to include that lift or paying
Right.
for it, in 2020 when you guys got it.
Hmm.
It came that way. I mean, it was.
Oh,
we
did it
we
was
we didn't
it was?
modify it.
Oh, okay,
It
they did.
arrived with the ramp.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
was
I
part of
misunderstood
it that was-
WRTA then.
Yeah, I thought there was something that was like aftermarket. and That's why we were having issues with like part of the roof leaking. Was that
Well,
just
part
because
of the
that
roof
11
leaking had nothing to do with the ramp, but just had to do
No, I know, but I thought
lousy
it had been
sealant or
like
something.
reconfigured after the fact.
Yeah, but
I'm probably remembering incorrectly.
it arrived with the ramp because
Okay.
when the person from the supplying company came here, she came to show us how the ramp worked and all the other bells and whistles on it. The thing about the MWRTA grant is good in one respect, it was good in several respects. One is it gets us across the magical border between Berlin and Hudson. And the good thing about that is, it can take multiple people. They can, I don't know how many actually they're unit, it's an on-call thing, so I don't know if they would pick up more than one person.
Yeah, I mean,
or
it's,
swell food,
it depends on what they have. And it could be multiple people in Berlin, it could be whoever else they have, in their area, I guess, that they're servicing.
One of the Achilles heels of our van operation was if we got a medical call, that appointment call, that took precedence over going to the mall or anything. With the MWRTA, that's not a medical appointment. They will take people to Market Basket, they will take people to Lowe's, they'll take people.
Just on call, you can just call them and lose it.
It's,
Hmm.
yeah, they
Yep.
suggest the longest wait time that somebody told me, that he used it was 30 minutes. So
Hmm.
she called, said she was ready for her appointment, so she was a little bit late for her appointment, but she said all in all, 30 minutes isn't bad.
Right.
And then most of them, the rest of the riders have been 15 to 20 minutes.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know if they're just kind of sitting in Berlin waiting for it or how it's working, but, it has been pretty speedy on the pickups. And then they just have to, when they're done, like with grocery shopping or whatever, so when you know that you're at checkout, you call them and say, I'm ready for pickup, and then they'll come back and pick you up. I initially thought that maybe you would do a pickup like in an hour with them, but it's still an on demand, so,
Okay.
That's a
when
much
you're,
shorter period of time in our van situation. We were asking people to let us know day and a half, 2 days ahead of time so we could, schedule it in.
Yeah.
This
well, I
is
think that's
like-
though, because we have a driver that we need to make sure that they're getting their hours. So again, it goes back to the per diem issue or having a part-time, we can't guarantee. If we were to cancel them because of snow, we would pay them, but we can't guarantee 19 hours a week and have nobody ride a van. So they can do on demand because they already have this driver, scheduled and picking up other people, I guess. So there's a lot around the transportation. When I first started here, my thought with our van is, great, let's take them to those medical appointments, the unmet needs of, let WRTA and WRTA that grant figure out the in-town stuff. It takes it off of us. You're not canceling people because a medical call came in after somebody else already booked their appointment or their ride.
Yep.
But that may not even be an option for us either. And the hard part of this is it's not something that's gonna happen instantly overnight. We're not just gonna have 14 people say, I need a ride in the next week. And so that I think is the concern and the delay of, it hasn't been reliable in the past.
Mhm.
We've either canceled for medical appointments and they go, well, I'm not gonna call them anyway because I wasn't able to go to the grocery store. Or I think we've essentially trained them to stop calling us for rides. And they've made alternate plans, asking family and friends, joining the show of neighbors. We've talked about the social aspect, that if we could keep the van in service and do, hey, the first 8 people that call me Tuesday, May 6th, we're going to Rhoda Springs, go get ice cream. That hasn't been utilized in the past either. And I don't know if it just wasn't promoted that way. So we're looking at data that's not 100% accurate, but that's all the data that we have.
Right.
So I'd love to put up a fight to save the van. I just don't know. I haven't been here long enough to know, I guess, how to fight for it for them, because it doesn't, the data that we do have doesn't show what we need to show. 1 ride a month or 1 ride a day. How are you paying
Yeah.
people? They're gone for 2 days and then nobody can take that job. And even if you do a per diem, nurses do per diem, doctors do per diem stuff all the time. They're also making a lot more than $18 an hour, but it's hard to tell somebody, hey, we'll call you on Monday and let you know what the schedule is. And if you can fill in those days for the week, great. but then that's them sitting there waiting, and then they're not supposed to have any other plans in their life, their own doctor's visits, their own things, so I'm kind of, I don't know. So guidance from you guys, we've got,
I'm thinking of a past driver
mhm,
who left because the hours were unreliable, I think.
mhm,
And if we said, and maybe this falls under, it sounds more like per diem to me. If we had these one or two folks in town who go to Worcester or Concord for their medical appointments, you, generally speaking, you have to book these things out. We have some notice. We have some notice
Mhm.
about a Rhoda Springs day, maybe a rain backup date. But if we could give this person a schedule of, on the 15th, could you take, this chunk of time?
right,
You
which would
think
kind
that
of work
person
more
would be
like,
open to that, or?
certainly
Or
a
maybe
discussion
somebody
to
would be-
have. I think that's a great idea. I mean, the other idea was, and this will take time to get into place too, is Monday you go to Worcester, Wednesday you go to Worcester. And what happens is right away, you can't, like, in the next like 3 months, right? It takes forever to get into doctors. I understand that. And some of them are, very important doctors visits. And so if they're missing them because we can't get them there,
Mm.
for another 6
most
months?
offices, most offices will work with you. I have seen it that if you say my only transportation is Monday, can I have a Monday appointment? As long as the office is open, they will usually, be able to fit them in that way. But again, we're looking at probably, most people are probably already booked 3 months out. So now we're looking at July, August before we can tell people you have to get that moved. So that's not going to be an immediate use of it either. So I don't disagree with that. I think that's a good way to do it. Say, hey, if we gave you the schedule for the month of what we had, it's almost kind of like, I think, if I might be speaking incorrectly, but Neshoba Neighbors has like a more of a volunteer position where you say, hey, Bob, can you, right, but I'm saying like ours compared to like they'd get paid per diem, but it's almost kind of like a volunteer at the same time, if that makes sense. Right, so like we're calling them with a schedule saying, hey, this is what we have available, can you take them? But if they can't, what's our backup?
So.
Yeah.
I
Bob,
think the other problem with that too is that if we say, okay, but we're gonna give you a schedule a month ahead, right? I think we're again sort of sending a message to people to kind of discourage them from using us. Because, if I see the cardiologist every 6 months, hey, that could work for me. But if I suddenly have something acute going on, I can't tell you a month in advance when I need a ride. And generally, I think more of that need would be acute need. It's certainly, things not necessarily booked out several months in advance. So, I don't know. I think, again, we're going to be back in the same position with, well, you can't really rely on them because you have to tell them a month in advance or, that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
don't know how we build up enough volume to justify it.
do you have any drivers that have a lift in their car, or what do you do for people in wheelchairs? Would you not have that issue?
I've
in the
taken
show?
people in wheelchairs and I load the wheelchair into the back of my
Yeah.
SUV and take people.
So you help them into your car?
Yeah.
Physically?
I just pick them up, put them right in there. No,
Big things like
Most of
that.
them, can, when I was younger, I drove a school bus in Worcester and I had to load this kid who had some muscular dystrophy or what the hell, and the kid weighed 250 and I was pretty buff. I had a hard time getting this kid across the bench seat into the car. That was awful.
Not very-
Anyway, distraction, but
Well, and I think that's
So
too the
like,
difference
what
of
else are we-
volunteer for a company versus a municipality, the liability of.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, right. There's no.
But go ahead,
So I
sorry,
have
Lori.
Another question, what is the possibility of doing something with either Hudson or Clinton or?
So we did talk to WRTA.
Wait, they have their own vans, right?
Yeah.
They do. So Clinton goes through WRTA and we did talk to them about doing something like that here. The problem is you still hire your own driver.
yeah.
So you
It all
get
comes down to the
reimbursed
driver.
from them and they pay for everything. You have to hire your own driver. If you're talking about
Using their.
Their van
as
to
their
come here?
driver, Come here.
Clinton is not an option from WRTA. We were told that they stopped doing that. They did it for a while. They did pick up and transport Berlin. And then I think it just became too much. When I was in Clinton, I know that they were trying to do some, what they were calling tandem rides. So there's a gentleman, I think he lived in Lancaster. So he was trying to go where Lancaster didn't go, but Clinton did in that weird.
Oh.
And so they were like, well, if we get him to Clinton and then Clinton has to get him, but then you have to get him home by a certain time to Clinton. And then Clinton had to get him, Lancaster had to come pick him up. It was just, it's a lot of moving pieces. And I think then it's like, well, who does he call for the ride?
Mm.
Clinton or
Mhm.
Lancaster?
It only takes one
And then-
piece not to come together for the whole.
And then who gets the reimbursement from the WRTA or the, you know, whatever they're in, or the MART or,
Yeah.
so, I did just send over, some files to WRTA, of the last, well, I sent the fiscal year because we didn't really have much in the last 3 months to show them. So he could kind of take a peek and see where the needs are. If it's a few appointments here and there, maybe they can work with us and say, hey, these people will be calling for Worcester, you can take them, or here's who you need to call. So there's a lot of moving pieces. I mean, I think,
I'm afraid there's just gonna be too many. Is that the thing?
too many people.
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna
I don't,
burden there.
well, they did mention if you connect with certain, like, I don't know if you remember Bob on the call, something about Northborough. It exhausts, like, you can't send somebody from Northborough over to Concord because that's too far for them to be driving. They try to keep it within certain mileage.
Okay.
Except WRTA won't go there anyway because
Yeah.
that's off.
'Cause
in
that's
the
off
hither
their
and
Worcester,
yon, that's not in
yeah.
their territory.
Concord is not.
Yeah, so it's,
I mean, they said, that WRTA has said that they're happy to provide the van and maintain it and do all of that.
Mhm.
Because that's what they do and they're professionals at it.
But
And
we
so,
have a van.
yes,
so-
so they're saying, we don't know why you have a van if you would like to have us provide the van. But
Mhm.
Well.
you're back to the same
It's the
square where
driver.
you need to have a driver or
Drivers.
drivers.
Wow.
so
And
it would
that's what
take,
they haven't figured out.
it would take some of our expenses away because we would not be responsible for getting it titled and insured, and it would be all on WRTA, the maintenance and
Can we
everything.
sell it?
But we, our van, we can, we
Okay.
could,
Oh.
yep, they did
But
say
then
that
you're left
it's,
with nothing.
they did say
Oh,
it's
we don't
free
have
and
a driver,
clear.
does it matter?
We already have, we currently
I
have
wondered how,
makes sense.
has anybody approached Boylston about with this van business? Because they're a small town like we are.
Mhm.
They have the same needs that we do.
Do they have, I think they're trying to vote to build a
Yeah,
senior
they are.
center.
I know they are.
They got the same problems?
I don't know what I have no idea what.
I don't know what their
I don't
van, do
think
they
so.
own their own van too?
I don't know,
Okay,
but I wondered
someone
where
already
we've been
did that.
trying to go towards the bigger towns like Clinton compared to Berlin. Berlin
Yeah.
has a handful, and a lot of Berlin people do for their neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Lori, when we did our
Did
calls,
Boylston,
did someone
we
call
made calls.
Boylston?
I'm looking through
Oh,
it.
you got it.
I
You
have
got
them, because that was further down on my list. I
not
have
list.
Bolton, Hudson,
Yeah, I don't remember.
Northborough, Lancaster, Clinton.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
was it.
And we thought we.
I can absolutely, I can reach out,
Because, yes, well,
and
they're right next door.
see what they have or how they do it.
Now, if we sold our van,
Mhm.
where does that money go? Does it go back to town or does it stay in our budget?
Means the money
Really good question.
So-
I was just assuming it would come back. to
Me
us,
too,
but
that's
you-
something.
Well,
raising a very-
I don't know because it was received by Harold Naughton in 2020 is how you guys got it. He signed something to allow, I think, it would come to us, but I will double check on that
I
to
would
see
double check on that.
I'm
where,
thinking if, even if it came back to us, could we use that money to pay for people's rides?
well, so that was,
On what, like Uber or Lyft or something?
Something.
well,
Yeah.
so, and that again goes with the tough of the liability of we're saying, hey,
The Ubers won't take
you
you,
need
they
to
have to
call.
transport you, they won't touch you, I
I-
think.
See, that's where we get, yeah, but it's also a standard of independence, like you have to be able to get yourself curbed
Right, 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 right.
curb or like in, but then that also takes away from the council on aging, you know, trying, like, if somebody has 16 bags of groceries, which they shouldn't, but if they brought a full cart and got groceries, what are you gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry, you take 7 trips in now? Like, no, you're
No.
gonna grab a few and put them at the doorway.
Well, that could still be with the other system, the one that we just got. I'm thinking more for like doctor's appointments.
For medical appointments.
Medical
in general.
appointments, yeah.
So the concern that was brought to me
Mm.
is that Uber and Lyft do not need to be CPR certified or have any
Okay.
of that.
Mm.
If they're going to medical appointments, that may not be, and this is all, I think too, we're thinking about it from a municipality, from liability and things like of that nature. So if somebody gets in there and we say, hey, you have to call an Uber and we'll pay for it, or we can help offset the cost, I think that's where some of the
Okay.
issues are coming from.
Just
I
another
think
thought,
historically too, this population, oh, sorry, Laurie.
No, go ahead, Linda.
I think, I know we had tried to put in sort of Uber as an option for our transportation at work. And there were a lot of seniors who were not comfortable with Uber.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
I have another question though. In the option to have the WRTA provide us a van and pay for, reimburse us for the driver or whatever, is that based on per trip, that reimbursement? I'm just wondering if under that system, we could guarantee someone a minimum hours.
No, it's based off of the hours that they work. So every month you have to turn in a sheet of your driver's time to WRTA. That's how it works for them. I don't know how Metro West would do it, but WRTA, you provide the driver's hours and then WRTA, so you pay them out first, but then you get
Mm.
reimbursed.
Yeah.
So there's something called a cherry sheet. And so basically, I guess the front of you get the money, but in the back, they, take it off in the back end. So it's kind of, we're not losing any money, but you don't make any money doing it. But we're still having to hire the driver and you're still not
Oh my God,
committing
going back to
hours.
the same-
It's,
Yeah.
yeah,
It always comes back to the drivers.
Another thought.
Yeah.
When I was on the rescue squad, we often did some medical transports, just because they were necessary.
Mhm.
But what if could we approach like, the fire department? They have ambulance drivers that are all certified.
they have been asked previously.
They have that.
There's some conflict in the hours. They're still a town employee. They'd still be a town employee.
Could it
And it
be like
messes with their,
on-call ones that maybe up to driving for a little extra money?
I can
And using. the
check, but there
ambulances.
was,
No,
This-
they
Oh,
use
oh.
a van.
I'm just using.
this all sounds familiar and.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I
It's all-
feel,
We've been dealing with this for many years.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. They got a new fire chief.
Well, this,
And it's like we can use the place downstairs now for equipment, which we couldn't
Mhm.
before. So
Yeah.
you don't know, maybe there are
It's worth
firefighters
asking.
that may want some little extra money or could don't their time off, maybe open to doing some runs.
I think you're right. When I hear about this fire chief, he's a little more flexible than the prior one. And willing to talk about different things
Okay.
that don't necessarily.
yeah, I can double check and see if it's. And these are all, I guess this is for me, this is where there's so many things out there and there's so many options
Mhm.
that you kind of don't even know where to start.
Right.
Right, so like I approach them and I say, hey, would this be an option? What's needed for this to happen? Is this an option? What's needed for this to happen? And there's so many of those, is this an option? That it's sending us, seems to be they're all sending us right back to the finding people to drive.
I think we have to be a little
Liability, I don't
careful
know.
about overtime.
Well, I don't know if it's overtime, I don't know if it's liability, I'm not really sure.
For Neshoba neighbors, I
Yeah.
know your folks are Cory checked. Are they also CPR certified?
Not CPR, but they are Cory checked.
Would there be a potential to have, like, if we do sell the van and we take that money, make it, I don't know, donate, I don't know how it goes, how it's square and all
Yeah.
of that financially. and-
Is there a requirement that they have to be CPR certified?
It is for the town.
Okay.
Probably burn
So
insurance.
we could, and it probably goes back to the liability, and the insurance and whatnot, but our fire department and EMS, they will run a class. I could say, hey, my board wants to get CPR certified, and they will run it for us.
Our whole
That's
board wants
not,
to drive.
yeah,
I was just like, but we're not drivers. so-
that's not a problem. That Kevin would set it up for me. We've already talked about how that would work, because I was talking about the drivers that we were bringing in, did not have CPR, but we're both willing, and then
Yeah.
we.
And I'm just wondering if there's like maybe a carve out that we could have for Neshoba neighbor. Yeah, you and I chatted about this casually.
Yeah, and that would be, again, I think I've talked a little bit to Sue about it, and again, it's how much legwork do you put into something, like, is that even, we're having this discussion, I think we've been going on this for about 30 minutes now, and I don't know what the outcome is on Monday. We may have enough support and people to say, no, the seniors need that van, and they don't take it from us, and we keep it in wages, and then we go back to trying to hire somebody, with,
Anybody's in a rush to take the van. I have spoken with,
but they
select
don't,
board
if we don't
members.
have money to pay a driver, what do we do?
put it
Why
on
do we
the
have a
credit
van?
card.
then we,
Yeah.
then we say no.
Yours?
Yeah,
Sure, why not?
so if they're taking if they decide to take $28,000 out of our budget, we don't have money to pay a driver, what do we do with a van, a volunteer? Then that's the liability portion, and that's them, and then it's,
Right,
just-
right.
so if they take that if they
It's
take that
just-
money out of our budget, we have to then, I think, consider, we sell, and then what's plan C? Joining them with Neshoba neighbors, right, I mean, we could, if it comes back to us.
From us on like work with all of these.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the money comes back to us. So they're actually, they won't take all of it. They are trying to put 10,000 into our expenses. So
Okay.
out of the 35 that we asked for, and then it was knocked down to 28, we'd really lose like 18,000. It wouldn't be in the part-time wages line, it'll be under expenses.
It's a little weird when you think about it.
So you can put $1 into, keep that account open for part-time wages to see if we could use the 10,000. I'm trying to say this is for the wages, they would move it from free cash or a stabilization account.
Well, it's
But that
kinda-
goes with finding a driver. So it's, I'm just,
If we could keep that in our account and we'd have that to pay, like they've got the part-time police, they've got part-time fire who may want a few more hours. And it could come out of that to pay them.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it'd already be approved by the town and everything else.
for the 10,000, you mean, that they're,
The
I mean,
20
that's all we'll have. We'll have the 10,000. Like
Well,
that, so
right,
that's
There-
gonna
There's no
go,
more
Right, but I'm
28,000, Bob.
yeah, we don't have 28,000.
I'm just saying if we had, part-time drivers that came from the town.
Yeah. Well, they would already be
They'd be all- yeah,
employees and they'd be
yeah.
on, yeah.
So,
Um,
when you
I
say
think we
we
just
don't have
need
the
to be
28,000,
careful
you're
if
saying
we have
that's
to
already
pay them
done?
the same. You know, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Linda.
If we have to pay, we would have to be careful in that case. I mean, I think that's a good idea. If they're part-time, they may be looking for more hours, but I don't know what they pay them as firemen or EMTs or whatever, and whether or not we would be able to create a different category for them to do this, or do we have to pay them at that wage level, in which case our $10,000 will go pretty quickly, I think. Because I'm
Well,
assuming
also,
we're not
that's- I
paying
mean,
them
one of the-
$18.
One of the questions I keep asking is if, $18.50 an hour, whatever it is not attractive. Being on per diem is not attractive.
1850 isn't the issue. We discussed with WRTA, we flat out asked them, and they said that 18, what we're paying is comparable, and we pay more than Northborough.
Really?
Northborough, according to and this was a year ago,
Can't we just take their driver?
they pay 17.25.
Your next job is.
So it's not, I don't think it's a hourly rate. It's that
Mm.
we can't guarantee people hours.
That's the.
So if you have 20 hours at $18 an hour, you're like, great. If you have $5 hours at $18 an hour, not so great for people.
Mhm.
So it's in WRTA spoke to this a little bit too, that it's not the rate. Clinton has a couple people that are 19, but they've been there for 12, 13 years driving for Clinton. Bolton, I think, is at 18 something. So I don't know. Bolton is at 19, so we're 49 cents off of Bolton. I mean, we're $1.50 more than, $1.30 more than Northborough.
Let's see if we can come to consensus on what we are going to ask for. I don't think it's a bright idea to dump the van when we don't know if it's possible. We would find drivers who would then drive it, do things, including recreational trips at some point, but at least at this point, take people on their medical or requested service rides. If you don't have a van, you're gonna maybe get it from Worcester Regional Transit. Okay, you can get a driver. So we got the van given to us. It's a good van. It's like 5 years old. It holds 10 people, tie downs for 2 wheelchairs. It has a ramp. It's got all of the bells and whistles you need in order to transport everybody. So I think, and speaking with Scott, on the select board, he said, he's not pushing for getting rid of the van. He's not pushing us.
No,
In that
no, it's
direction.
the money. If we lose $18,000, how do you support a van running? I guess that's the thing. So it's not that we want to get rid of the van or we want to lose the van, but if we lose $18,000 out of our budget, we can't hire anybody to drive it. Because if we can't hire somebody that's 19 hours,
Can't take a volunteer.
it's
You can't pay-
$10,000 is all we have
Are they
for the
cutting our
entire
budget?
year.
Are they cutting our budget by 18,000?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
that's what.
That's what-
You guys, we really need to have, like, this, the vote is Monday. Like, this is what is going to town vote on Monday. They are wanting to reduce our COA part-time wages to nothing and give us $10,000 into expenses. So we would have no line item for part-time wages as of right this second. And we'd have $10,000. Or the town votes and says they need to keep that money and we would have the $28,000 like nothing ever happened. The problem is at this exact moment, we don't know.
Right.
So
Right.
So we have to wait
it's,
till the vote.
we're kind of,
Mm.
these are things that we need to think about as a board. And as the director to come up with plans A, well, B, C, D, and like I said earlier, JK.
So we can't influence that decision. is what
You
you're-
could,
Yeah.
Get up and
you
talk
can
at
get up
town
and talk
meeting.
at town meeting. I know that somebody was going to go to the floor to talk about
Mm,
leaving the part-time wages account with $1 in it. So we could use it for wages if the 10,000, if we need it for wages. There is also, to talk about more, there's a grant from MCOA that is for transportation. It's due the 23rd, it's due the 23rd. I just don't know where to go with it.
May 23rd.
Yeah, so the option is address the needs of older adults to connect them with their outside communities. Service delivery may include, but is not limited to volunteer drivers, rideshare options, public transportation training. Excuse me, connections to bus and train stations, taxi vouchers, COA vans, transportation scheduling, partnerships with RTAs and contracts with bus, ambulance, school. So I'm 100% gonna apply for this.
How much is it for?
Up to 25,000. But I don't know if we go towards the side of we have a COA van and we need money for a driver,
Uh-huh.
or do we need money for vouchers to help them offset the cost of Neshoba Neighbors caveat?
Well, you'll know
or
Monday,
something.
Tuesday. morning.
Yes. So it'll give me about
Oh,
12 days to get it written, knowing that. But it's
Yeah.
just, this was more kind of just to kind of bring it
Hmm.
into perspective of where we're at with transportation. I don't want to lose the van.
I agree.
I think we can still do things with it. I just don't know how we pay for that
Mm.
with the $10,000. The upkeep, the maintenance, like stuff like that, it's been sitting now for 4 months. Besides moving it from the barn to the parking spot.
So what has been the annual maintenance and gas and oil?
Again, that's not really a fair assessment when it didn't ride for
No,
4
it
months
wasn't-
out of the
it wasn't
year.
Running,
So,
okay, when it was.
I mean, you're going
we're
back.
paying insurance, we're paying gas and oil, which was
Yes,
limited
it's
because.
not going anywhere.
So let's say that.
So I think, I mean,
It's the 18,000.
you know.
Do we then get up and say, can we transfer?
I'm sorry, I just lost, she's still up there, but I had to minimize it for a second. Shoot, it's just that sound. I did a spreadsheet for Kristen on the cost of it.
So what the WRTA is saying is they can provide us,
Spreadsheet real quick, so I had those numbers, but
Yeah.
I can't find it real quickly. You're just kind of here, there and everywhere. I don't think that maintenance and upkeep of it is, I don't think it was that high for like the $10,000. I mean, it was like a couple hundred when they filled it. Like, it's not an extravagant expense to have the van. The problem is that's $10,000 unless, like, that gets us from July 1st of 2025 to June 30th of 2026 with $10,000 for the year.
For
So,
everything.
For everything.
So that's for gas.
So it
oil
would be
change,
gas, oil
maintenance,
change, maintenance,
And the driver.
the inspection, any repairs.
Insurance?
Could offset. Insurance could offset a little bit because we do have the formula grant, which would be able to put towards it. So it's, I don't think it's terrible to keep it in service and running
I
it.
agree, yeah.
I would love to be able to do special trips or have that schedule.
Mm.
We haven't had enough time to really make things happen, to get good proof and good data on people that are using it.
We could make that case at town hall if we needed to, like we're
Like you're up there to get
assessing
more and
what
Yeah.
the town's needs are. You know, there was a survey done a few years ago, it's time to update that and.
Yeah, I mean, and Evie did speak to saying that, give us a chance to do something with it.
Right.
Otherwise, we
Yeah.
just lose the opportunity.
Now, if you could get like 25,000, up to 25,000 grant or towards a van or a driver.
Mhm.
Could we just put aside a day a week for the driver and pay him for the day whether he drives or not? I mean, so we could guarantee
I
something?
don't think so.
Don't think
I
so.
think that was
We got a lot
Kristen's
of
thing. You
pushback
can't,
from
yeah,
Okay.
treasurer and the TA.
yeah,
From who?
treasurer, accounting, TA,
Oh, oh,
because
okay.
it's,
Okay.
yeah. I can definitely ask again.
Because if it's money that we've gotten as a grant for this purpose. then
Right.
We really need to be able to say to some person, a driver, we'll guarantee you this much a week or something, just to keep them interested.
Yeah. I think without that, we're never gonna find anybody.
And I mean, it's hard because the programs that we're comparing ourselves to have been successful for years. we're looking at a population, a senior population that's a third of Clinton. They have 3,000
I know, that's
seniors.
like, we're so small, yeah.
Northborough has
Yeah.
2,000 seniors.
Yeah.
So for them to say 30 rides, that's low for them, but that's high for us.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
right,
so,
yeah.
so it's not comparing apples to apples, which is the hard part too. I think it's gonna take time to catch on. They sent out their own mailer, to every household, and somebody actually said to me, "Oh, I think I threw that away. I thought it was junk."
So are you applying the need isn't as high?
So
in
what do we
Berlin?
need? How do we get information
know.
out there? I don't think, I mean, yes and no. I think when you take our 700 seniors, I think we're at 900 now roughly. I just think, and it's hard to move from the past in situations like this because that's what's created what we have now.
Mm.
Because we're not getting the opportunity to do something about it now and change things because we don't have good, accurate
I
information.
understand.
I mean, I've only been here for 6 months, but I've had 7 people call me for rides, and some of them were doctors and some were just going to Market Basket. So 7 people in 6 months. But if they called me in the first month and I said, no, we don't have a driver, we're not running the van, they haven't called back.
Yeah.
You know, I have a list of people that I can contact that I've written down when we had the driver.
Yeah, but
we
word gets
don't
around.
have.
Yeah, right,
Good luck
right.
calling,
We don't
we
have a driver, so why would they
Right.
call? They're not calling because they know we don't have a driver.
Right.
Let's have a basic question.
Yeah.
If you, so the van is used exclusively for the elderly and the seniors and it's,
Yes.
right, okay. Can it be considered to have another function? Maybe to help those that have disabilities in the community as well, expand
Well, disabilities, yes.
the definition a little bit more, and maybe the probability of getting more customers is higher.
I can check on that.
Isn't it always seniors and disabled? though? Or does that not come into that for us?
I think it does. I
yeah.
think you can include, disabled.
Right, but it could be under
Right.
60 disabled.
Yes. That would, and sometimes it falls like they have Medicaid, so you would have PT1, so like,
Right. If you
They just get a
they
ride.
right.
so if we could
Yeah.
get
that's
people
right,
in,
Right.
you know, I don't know what that
Getting the
population
word out.
is. And that's, I mean, yeah, so
Lines of
we've got a
effect.
lot of time on that. So there's definitely things to take away, just in your minds, kind of think of, I guess, where we're at Monday. They either vote to keep our money in the budget as is, as requested by me. And we would be back to finding a van driver.
Is the finance committee supporting that? Do you know?
Yes, they are. That's why I went to town meeting. Select
Supporting-
board.
Supporting doing away with it.
Yeah, select board.
Who's doing away
did it-
with it?
Yeah,
The 18,000,
Mm.
yeah. So select board and the finance committee both agreed to take 18,000 out of our budget. And then, yeah,
I can say just from the Neshoba Neighbors, which is totally volunteer, perspective, that there are a number of people in Berlin who want and need medical rides, because we give them all the time. And there are a number of people just in Northbrook 1 and 2 who need rides and ask for them regularly, and I've driven them. And I'm only.
So they're
one-
reaching out to
so-
Neshoba neighbors instead because we don't. have a
because we
driver.
don't have a driver now, yes.
Well, you
and-
join the Neshoba Neighbors, I mean, it costs,
Yeah.
but you do 3 Uber rides in a year, and that gets.
Well, and I think that was
That's
my,
right.
if we do lose the money, and again, then it was, well, then it's a private company, but there's not another private company that does it.
Right.
So I don't know, like, you know, if we spend more than 10,000, like if we can help offset with that $10,000, we say, okay, Lori, here's $100 for you to get the transportation portion of Neshoba Neighbors. And
Can we do
Sue
that?
did send me some money. Well, send me some money. She did send me some numbers.
Sure.
And it's 60% is Berlin that uses the transportation aspect of Neshoba Neighbors.
Well, that tells us something.
That's already-
So we do have some numbers,
Yeah,
so that is one thing, but that was something that I was thinking of too, if with that 10,000, if we lose it, I mean, I'm not saying that I want to, but I'm trying to figure out both sides of the coin. So we're at least prepared with some options either way.
Would they ever
You see,
consider,
one
Melissa, if,
annoying aspect of the whole,
Go ahead, Lynn. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm
Bob.
sorry.
go ahead.
Would they ever consider like, a membership to Neshoba Neighbors or 2 memberships that were only for transportation and belonged to Berlin? So that it wasn't, it wasn't necessarily for an individual, but accounts that we could use only for transportation. There would be no other benefits from Neshoba Neighbors. And just I mean, we would have to have criteria, some sort of financial criteria under which people could take advantage of that. Because, you know, we can't provide that to everyone in the town, but maybe would they do that so that we could?
Well, and one of the
utilize it?
numbers that Sue did provide was also, they do have financial help, and Berlin did have more, of a financial assistance. But if the numbers bigger, that, you know, makes sense to me as well, but,
The membership cost can be adjusted. according to
Yeah.
financial
Okay,
hardship.
okay.
uh, so Linda, you're saying just like, in my assumption, you would keep it under us, so they would call us for a ride, and then we would contact Sue or whoever it is to get it scheduled on their behalf, like we would vet them first?
Yeah, and
Wow, I
therefore
don't know that.
also we would be able to have some control over it, you know.
Over who's
Only for
getting it.
medical appointments. I think we have other sources now to get to the grocery store.
Right.
But if we could use that
Yeah.
for medical appointments and to those places like Concord or Worcester or where we can't get them any other way. You know, that, to me, that might be easier for us to manage than giving out restricted memberships to a whole bunch of people, you know?
Right. I wonder.
I
if
don't
they
know. I don't
can-
know how it
they could
works
invoice
well,
us.
but
Well, actually, we would know, because we would still take, Peggy could still do, she has done the rides, so we would still go through us like a normal. But what was your idea, thought?
Just, with respect to Neshoba Neighbors, the membership fee that people pays for technology, which is used to match people with the request with a volunteer who provides the service. When it comes to, rides, the person who drives uses his or her own car, provides his or her own gas, provides everything except tolls and parking garage fees, if either of those is involved. So that's a, you know, can be a pretty substantial contribution during the year. I mean, you could spend a few $1,000 just driving people places in your own vehicle. So I think that's, you know, somebody like a group like the Neshoba Neighbors has to be careful, because you have to have enough volunteers to meet the needs of all of the members that you have. And right now, I think the numbers are fairly close. It's maybe 60 volunteers, 60 members. But if you're talking adding the town of Berlin, and you're talking however many, I mean, not all Berlin seniors need medical rides, but
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the difference. We're not
you-
saying like, hey, you can go to Hannaford, or I keep saying Hannaford, Market Basket or Highland Commons or wherever, you can use this for medical rides only. That would be,
with respect to that,
Thing.
you need to have enough volunteers on hand. I don't know how many drivers we have,
yeah,
but, they're all.
I think to
they
your
all
point,
seem pretty-
Bob, also us, you know, putting a financial or an income requirement on it. It's not, you're not saying any of the 900 seniors in Berlin would qualify for this. Many of them will not. But if they are, you know, if we're providing a limited Neshoba Neighbors membership and they can afford to pay for a Neshoba membership themselves, we shouldn't be subsidizing that, because we obviously are very poor as a group. But if we can get, you know, some memberships, a couple of memberships that would be to that limited group of people who just couldn't get their own Neshoba Neighbors membership, maybe it wouldn't put such a strain on the system.
I guess that's something to be discussed with, the Neshoba Neighbors Board.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
'Cause We've got over 2 years' experience now with Bavaria services offered, and we know how it works with transportation pretty well, because we've been doing it a lot. But you can't
Be the water.
expand. I mean, I think the regular membership is 175 a year. If you have two people in the same household, it's 150 each, so it's 300 for a couple in a household. It can come down. I won't say exactly how low it can go, but it can get pretty cut and pick and low. Probably less than $1 a week.
Oh, see, I wouldn't anticipate taking that much. Like, I would think that if you could just do like a transportation medical only and come to, you're paying
How would that work?
$75.
Yeah.
I mean, they figured out what the yearly cost is for the general to call them whenever. So I think maybe working with them, we could probably figure out a good number. But that's all they get with the service. You're not calling them to fix your light bulbs or come to your yard work or whatever else they
How
offer.
would- I mean, you guys would have to discuss that, but how would you know which category they were in? They were either in the whole,
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah, I don't know
It's in
that
the
we've
system.
discussed having just a
Right.
medical membership.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, it's not just, we won't be able to put any of this into place like immediately. It's gonna take some back work and legwork and
Yeah.
trying to talk to Sue and everybody. To figure out what we can do.
Can we just zero in on the town meeting? What are we gonna do at the town meeting? Are we gonna go and say, we're 35% of the town population, 1% of the town budget, and you wanna whack our budget? Really? And then secondly,
You got it then, Bob, get up and say it.
I was like, that should perfectly stated, I think.
no one who spoke at the last town meeting when the whole school thing was going on, and really reamed them about it, because she said, you have a lot of nerve talking about cutting budgets for seniors who comprise this much of the population, and you're, you know,
Well, call her up. have her get up.
right? So how do we want to go about it? What do we want to say?
I mean, I think
But I
it's,
could be
it's
wrong, so-
independently, if people are comfortable getting up and voicing what they want and what they believe.
It's good to have a plan. Who's gonna get up and who's gonna say what? You don't want 5 different people get up and say exactly the same. "We're 1% of the budget."
Well, so if Lori got up and said that first, why would anybody else get up and repeat it?
Precisely.
So you would just go by who, like, I mean, I wouldn't, if that was my plan, like, if that was what I was gonna say, then I'd be like, oh, Lori just took care of that for me. I don't need to get up. If you had something contradictory, then I would get up, or something to add to it that wasn't said, but I would think that 5 of us wouldn't go in a row. I mean, I'm gonna be there just in case there's more questions about it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of parents there who are concerned about that missing $140,000.
Hmm.
And they're gonna say.
You know, that's what I'm
18,000.
thinking right now, like,
Right.
what do they care about this when?
Yeah.
I mean, be
They-
honest, that's really what's gonna happen.
They don't, and I think
Right.
that's the hard part with showing our support and showing that we still have needs for the seniors in the community versus school stuff. And we have a few seniors that didn't send kids through the education system, don't have kids or grandkids in the education system. People that are just moving into the town that are now getting their taxes, that are seniors because they're over 55, communities. I think there's gonna be a lot of discussion. I don't know if the parents are gonna bring, as many,
Absolutely, but if we get up and advocate, we're advocating for something, not against something.
Right.
So we're not saying, don't be pigs and try to get all the money, we're saying,
Yeah, I think we should leave the school out of it.
right, don't
Oh,
be
I
Grinches.
would
Oh,
not,
oh,
we're
no,
just
no.
talking here, that's
Yeah.
not.
I'm saying, like, if there's a lot of parents
Yeah,
that come,
yeah.
that could sway the vote versus us having 2 people that get up
They're two
Right,
different
right,
issues.
right.
and
I know.
sway the vote. Yeah. Yeah. The school doesn't need any more money.
Somebody will get up.
But
and
it's
say it, you know?
probably, but I think it's respect with both and sharing
Mm.
why we as a community still need to support the seniors and why we as a community support the schools. But if the school comes with, 100 people that are ready to fight and get up there and we've got 2, you're like,
I think we're in a
I
little
don't
bit
know.
of a catch-22 too, because up until now, and I mean, we've already seen a lot more involvement, but there hasn't been a lot that the town could call back and say, oh, but the COA does a million things for seniors, right? Now, we've already increased that a great deal over the last 6 months, but we haven't unfortunately had enough time to really get it to a place where people are talking about it in town. Well, do you know they do this? Do you know? There's a start, but I don't think there's really a drumbeat about how active we are. So I think when you're talking about a group of parents who are trying desperately to make sure their schools are funded, and a group like us who, well, what do you do? I think we're really behind the 8 ball in many ways, as
Absolutely.
far as our argument.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
being realistic, sad as it is, but
Well,
It-
and
it
this
is.
situation is not unique to our town.
Yeah.
oh,
So I guess we will, because now we're already at 5:11 and we haven't done half of them. So
There was something else on it?
leave it as, I guess, here's where we're at. Monday, you go and you vote. If you feel comfortable getting up and voicing for, then great. As the board, I think it would be great to have the support showing that, but I don't want to have to stand up in front of everybody at town meeting either, so I get it. But I think it's you can't lose the van completely. Right. But it goes with, if you take $18,000 from us, what do we do? What's our next option to help those people?
We could buy half another van.
Such a small- Doesn't it sound, you're like, yes, $18,000, like, I know. So I will just kind of breeze through the rest of mine. Yoga and Tai Chi are the same. We're seeing 4 to 6 people in yoga, 8 to 12 people on Tai Chi. We
Say the
are,
numbers again?
4 to 6 for yoga,
4 to 6, yeah.
8 to 12 for Tai Chi. We have 8 homes for Meals on Wheels. Bob, you can correct me. That was the last one I saw. 8 deliveries.
We have 10 recipients, 2 in one.
2 in one.
one apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 8 homes that you go to? Then did you add
9.
up to-
9
Oh,
homes.
okay, you said
And
wrong.
yeah.
Okay, so 9, yeah.
Um, we currently have 10 seniors enrolled in the senior work off program. We do have 2 applicants that have not been placed. The next application period starts in July.
Can they paint?
We
Can they drive?
we need,
Levi vans?
Yeah.
Why you all
the
laughing?
2, I am not sure.
Oh. Okay,
But
but aside from those
senior
2,
tax work off, we probably could.
okay, that's the question.
We don't have
Special needs.
well, jobs or, so the problem with senior tax work off is we wanted to get, right, like I said earlier, people are moving in, they're 55 plus, but then they're paying these taxes and everybody needs help with taxes and, you know, the requirements are 60 years old and 5 years of a Berlin resident
For the senior work
for
off?
the senior work off.
Okay.
So we're like, oh, well, maybe we can help those that have moved into the 55 plus community that are the 60 or above.
Yep.
But we don't have enough jobs.
Oh.
So Peggy and I,
Enter the main.
yeah, we're talking about, you know, what we can do. She has been asking for the last couple of years, it's a department, like department heads, do you need any help? I mean, it could be as simple as filing, it could be
Oh,
more intense.
secretarial, okay,
I mean,
yeah.
it could be something, I have somebody for data entry right now.
Mhm.
It's either 2 hours a week and they get the max, they work 52 weeks, and 2 hours a week, that's not, so that could be, can you just move these papers from this pile to this pile? I mean, I don't, they could be more like spreadsheets and, you know, things like that, but we're having trouble getting
Giving them.
department heads to get jobs or fulfill, I guess, asking or requesting for jobs.
So
So
you said, so there's 10 people in the program and there's 2 more?
yeah, we have 2 that have not been placed because we don't have jobs to place them in.
Oh, okay.
Do you have enough activities
Covers the
in
entire town.
COA programs you think could help,
I-
like setting things up, taking things down?
Not yet, really.
Right.
And it also depends on the applicant themselves and what their strengths and
Yeah.
kind of
You know, who's-
qualifications are.
We let, licensed
She must
master
think- she must
electrician
think
go.
these 2 people.
Yes, but
She
that's,
would-
again, so the senior tax work off can't be a job that somebody would get paid for. So a licensed electrician needs to be paid the not prorated rate, I forget the,
Minimum wage.
it's the prevailing wage. So if they get $85 an hour as an electrician, that's what we'd have to pay them. The senior tax work off is $15 an hour. So that's where we,
Well, this guy was, never, anyway.
Yeah.
We're getting too long here.
let's see. The next one, just marketing. We've kind of gone around, programs are not well attended right now. I've got a few out there. I've got flyers in front of my office. They go out on the main board. They're on Facebook, on our Berlin page, the COA page, on the town page. They are at 19 Carter. They are at Northbrook Village. They,
So you have
They're on the
flyers, it's on
store.
the Facebook
oh,
page.
sorry, yes.
Um,
Do you want me to send you, like, is it easier if I send you my write-up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Everything from my-
You
yeah.
want to take over secretary time?
Um,
Oh, I thought that's what you
The
were.
post office is the only one that we're missing, Bob.
Yeah.
But again, we had a direct mailer and people are like, oh, well, how do they know about this? And I said, well, WRTA did a direct mailer and I was told, oh, I probably threw that away.
Isn't that nice?
So I'm struggling. This doesn't have to be an answer right now, but
Oh.
this is try to put it in,
Church bulletins.
it's also in Powderhouse News. Thank you.
Right.
Church bulletins.
You're gonna send me that, right?
Yep.
You're writing it.
Um,
Scan it in and give it to
and then, so I'm struggling with marketing and getting people in here.
Mm.
We're trying to provide data on what we do and why we're part of this and
me. Mhm.
what we're trying to do for the seniors in this town. And I'm not having people attend events and I don't know how else to reach them.
Go get them, drive them.
Right. Right, like, people come here, come
What
on.
if we called them? We're like, did you know that we had a?
I would love
G
that
Happening in the last.
if you have phone numbers for people.
Well, we've got someone
So
that worked
not-
before with legwork. This is where.
This
they
is where
work
we were
with
talking, yes. So
come
I
in.
currently have somebody
Bigger
doing
stuff.
data entry of that,
Yeah.
of what we have. A lot of it was, and this is why my senior center, in my opinion, was so important for us.
Yeah.
Is
that
because
would
it's
be-
all located in one place. It's not on an Excel spreadsheet saved under something, and then it's in a Microsoft Word document saved under something else. It's printed out, but not found anywhere on the computer. So I've kind of,
Are you speaking from
every-
experience?
everything that I can find, I've given to the tax work off person and been like, whatever you can get in there for me.
Yeah.
Great.
Hmm.
There's gonna be some more along the way. as we have vets breakfast, more vets come, I, ask their phone number and their name,
That's
their date of
growing.
birth.
Well,
I
see,
just don't know how, I'm really struggling, to be honest. So I'm kind of looking for input, not right now, think about ways that we can, I don't know, get more out there. Town website is not user friendly.
Mhm.
We have to contact somebody to make the changes for the town website. So everything that I book and schedule, I
You
have
have
to
to contact somebody.
so right
Somebody
now,
who?
it's going through, the government page is
Mm.
doing a bunch of towns. They're
Oh.
converting like a bunch of websites for the towns. So we have a consultant that I email with changes.
Is that new?
Or get on a call. No, I think it's been like the last
Oh, I didn't
year
know
or
that.
so,
Hmm.
year, 2 years maybe.
Oh, so this- How did we do
Um,
it before? Someone here just did it.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it was Tom Galvin who did it.
So, yes,
there
I
it
think
is.
it was
think it
because
was
I found a couple
police.
emails when I was looking for something else. So I can't go in and log in. It's just not user friendly anyways. We
Oh.
had the same problem in previous
Okay,
towns, but
yep.
so my thought is, and this actually came from speaking with Evie, saying that we could have our own website, the library does it, and link our website to the town page that I can actually update.
Oh, you should do that.
So every event that I do, or everything I'm updating, or, like our meetings or our agendas, everything that's out there, I have to contact this person to get on a call with them to have him
Oh my
update, to
gosh,
walk him
much
through
work.
which link I'm on.
That might be the best use of our funds initially.
So
People in.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping. So I do have a contact from Evie actually that she had given me. So I'm gonna reach out to somebody that potentially could be a work off or donating time. So that's something to think about. And then I just had events that are scheduled. Again, a lunch and learn with Medicare. The MedMinder, which is just an organization system for prescriptions. They have all different types of things that
That's a
you
great
can.
program. That is.
So if somebody isn't 100% able to take their medication at the same time, you can do different kinds of things. Pill packets, and you can pop them out, and so there's a bunch of those. So they're coming to discuss all their options and how they do it and what's covered by insurance. They are also playing bingo. So I'm hoping that draws a crowd, but again, I have nobody as of right now.
We'll all come.
Lifeline Alert Systems is coming. And
that's
we
a good
have
one. Good one.
Yeah, so they're gonna discuss what is a medical alert, how does it work, how do I get one?
How do I make it work?
Grab and go.
Hmm.
We have one coming up at the end of May. That's breakfast. June has,
I'm sorry, there's another grab and go? I saw that somewhere.
in May, yep, and I
But
actually,
isn't-
Linda,
Did I see that you could stay and eat though?
yes,
I saw it somewhere.
you did.
I did.
So it's on Facebook and it's
That
out
must
and
have been-
about,
that- That
but
had to have been more, sorry.
Linda suggested, probably 3 months ago now, trying to get people out of their house. We're not really,
Right,
if
we're giving them-
grab and go,
just
they're like,
going
"Oh,
home
bye."
and eating and alone,
right.
if they're alone.
So I was like, all right, let's see if people will stay and eat. I thought about,
When is that?
it just, we'll have to set it up a little bit differently. Like I know Linda, I don't know, you might be at the next one, whatever. We'll figure that out later. Logistically, how to separate each section of who's staying, who's going, who's delivering.
What's the date of that?
May 28th.
Oh, the day
You
after.
know,
our
the
meeting.
Lions also have a senior
Yes, they do. It's,
luncheon coming up. in
yep,
May.
it's, May 15th or 19th. And so, yeah, so I used Linda's suggestion and we're gonna see how
Must
many
be
people want to
Wednesday.
stay.
Must be Thursday.
Honestly, this probably will be the
It's
last
just
one.
days early.
Just because it's pricey. It's
Well-
costing us a lot of money.
What did you say for a date?
I think it was the 15th. Oh, for ours,
Yeah.
the 28th.
No,
Okay.
for the grab and go, you
Yeah,
mean?
Lions is
Yeah.
18th.
18th,
Okay,
yeah.
18th.
So
That's what, I knew it was the 15th or 9th. I got it right there, 15th or 19th.
So the seniors are gonna eat good in May.
And then June, we have fire and EMS is doing a safety presentation, fall risk, stuff like that. We do have for something scheduled, he is a self-taught guitar player and singer. He is autistic, and he has been playing at like Spruce Street and Simple Man and Benefits and stuff. So we're gonna have him come out and play, probably get some food, just maybe like finger sandwiches, nothing too. But I wanted to make it kind of a summer barbecue-esque, but
Mhm.
not use all our money on a barbecue yet. Maybe next year when we have more people that are
Would it
gonna
be?
come. To be determined. I don't know exactly yet because
Your
the
house.
the school is out. I have to actually tomorrow, I have to go grab, the facility usage form and see how much they will charge us, because if you use the school, they have to have a custodian there. So they have to pay the custodian. So that's a cost. I don't think they'll charge us for the space.
Mhm.
Take it out of our bus driver. money.
We also were thinking the back corner, the police,
If you have any.
police and fire said that it would be more than okay to hold it back there. And they would make sure that that they could safely figure out a routine, like whatever, if there's a call or something.
Oh, yeah, right.
Or
Um,
what if somebody has to go to the bathroom?
Well, that's what I was like, I don't want portable,
There
which
is
is why
some
the
that
school was,
That the boat kids use when they're building in here, on that side of the property. This
oh,
property,
you're talking about the
grassy
the
area,
portable.
porta potty.
I don't know that that's ideal for seniors that may have walkers and canes and
Yeah, I would say no.
whatnot.
We'll give them a
Keep
ride
that
home.
there and walk.
And then
don't you
give them a ride home real quick in the van.
Seniors are so demanding.
July, it'll be Vets Breakfast. There is an ice cream social planned for July. I don't have exact details on everything yet, but these are just ideas that I'm kind of
Nice.
rolling with right now.
That's good.
August, we do have somebody booked for a musical act. His name is Bill Reedy. And then I'm also trying to put together, school supply collection. So, kind of if it's the intergenerational thing. So if seniors bring school supplies, they're helping the kids in the community. I'm thinking about trying to collect donations from whoever can donate, Panera, you know, if the general store wants to do gift cards or something small, like $5 increments, but if they donate, here's your voucher. Not that that's why you donate, you should just be donating out of the kindness of not getting anything back. But then it would also give them maybe a place that they don't normally go. They wouldn't go to the general store, but it might make them go in and get a couple sodas or try a sandwich there or something. So
They get beer, no,
trying to, yeah.
The vouchers aren't good for that.
I'll put no alcohol in it.
you need for the kids.
Trying to get, that, what do you need? Miss?
So sorry, I have to leave because I have to go set up to record something in Boylston at
Okay.
6. It's not being recorded in the other room, so it's
Okay.
just being recorded to Zoom, so when your meeting's over, you can just up and leave. I know the lights are still on the mics, but they're
That's
not
fine.
being
Okay,
recorded.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm trying to do the intergenerational things. All the community, you know, we bring the general store. I know if we can try to get Berlin Farm, maybe to donate ice cream or Balance Rock to donate some stuff, you know, it's just trying different things to make everybody kind of cohesive.
That makes me think this is like going way back, and maybe it's changed, but a few years ago when we were making tons of calls during COVID, I do have a place that was willing to donate ice cream for
Okay.
ice cream service for us.
Okay.
Have we ever done any of our activities at the source, like at Northborough, well, not Northborough, what is it called? The senior housing?
Northbrook Village.
Yeah. Like done where we have kind of a captive audience to get people connected to us and interested a little more?
I don't think you guys have. I know Bob, I know Neshoba Neighbors has done things, there most
And the
more
board- and
recently.
The board there has, we don't do a heck of a lot, actually, but.
And others from the community that don't live there are invited?
Good question.
No, not
Okay.
that far.
No,
Okay, so it was
Well,
just
then the
Neshoba
answer is
Neighbors,
no,
I mean,
yeah.
Northbrook Village. Something to think about. I thought about doing like the ice cream social there. I'm trying to use our space as much as possible as well, because
Next,
That's
they'll
what- I
take that away.
I don't wanna lose it. Use it or lose it, right? So, if we're not showing that we're using that space,
Is yoga and Tai Chi still? there? Yeah,
yes.
okay.
And Vets Breakfast is down there. And there's great areas. I mean, 1870, 19 Carter is an option to hold events. I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but we have a room that we're trying to,
Yeah.
you know, get people to.
1870 is closed until.
August, is that what it is? September?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, there's a movie crew coming.
Apple TV is doing
Oh,
the series. and
really?
They're renting
She's
the
gonna
building.
turn on the
but I
lights.
think
Close.
it's-
Churches down.
Yeah, right.
That's
Well,
where, when I first joined the COA, that's where we would have our dinners. and stuff.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Where's Parish Church?
yeah.
Yeah.
Fix the steeple first.
So that goes along with using our space downstairs. I do have a paint color, so we will be doing that. I was told that we should probably get 5
Purple.
gallons.
Purple.
I know Lori, you had that furniture. Do you still have
I have
The
the big,
stuff?
I have the big one. The
Okay.
little one,
when somebody said, yeah, great.
my husband wants to keep one. So.
Oh.
This is sideways on the floor.
Okay,
So I just kind of did this and I've got all the dimensions
Nice.
here.
perfect. Yeah, because I'm thinking if we could take this,
It's
okay, so,
sideways on the floor.
okay,
It's over
4
6
shelves, yeah,
It's almost 6 feet tall. It's
Okay.
pretty big.
yeah.
Bigger than a bread box?
Oh, yeah.
If we could put, it would give us additional storage down there, but keep it
Oh, it's like a
out
storage.
of, that's
Oh,
what, yeah.
yeah.
So that's what I was thinking.
And on that, Dennis thought we may have to gift it to the town. He doesn't know how that works.
Oh,
So
okay.
might want to check with Kristen on that.
Let
what we
me
need to
check.
do.
Okay, how that works, if
Yeah.
it's something like if
Can't
there's
just
a
come in a
paper.
cloak of darkness.
Like,
and-
I can't just take it off your front porch and. So we do have that. We do have a fridge down there now. So we are getting there. I
You
know
know,
it
nice
might
little glance
seem
when I was
like
looking for this group of people.
lots of slow moving at some point, but we are building things up.
You just-
Okay, I work at the, Saturdays I work as a take it or leave it.
Yep.
And we've got tons of puzzles. I can pick up puzzles, I can pick
Okay.
up knitting supplies.
Yeah,
all
I mean,
kinds of stuff.
I guess that's kind of the thing of, in this, again, we can put this on the next agenda, I actually will. What is the thought for the space? You know, we do have something in town that already kind of has people going there, and maybe there's two different groups, and I don't know, possibly.
You can say 19.
Oh, yeah, I did. So I don't know if we're trying to provide the same things, like, will people come to do puzzles here? Or is it just gonna become things that we have that we've taken that we end up not doing anything with, or taking up space, I guess. So something else to think about for the next
I tried to
meeting.
Give her a piano, but she's not sure she wants a piano.
I
Do you
I
feel
did
like,
say
do
it.
you feel like 19 Carter were competing with them?
I don't want to compete with them,
Okay.
but I
No.
feel like they already have a group established for like
Yeah,
coffee
they-
hour,
yeah,
and
they do, yeah.
Yeah.
Kate works there on Wednesdays when
Yeah.
I go, and
Yeah.
I don't want to conflict with that,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's what we're going for, then we also might want to consider bringing in a senior tax work offer volunteer for, they can read their book and hang out, but somebody to be down there,
Yeah,
because right now it's just open.
Yeah.
well, you can have
Um,
coffee hour and not have it the same day.
Well, that's what I was
Right,
thinking, why can't-
right.
I also
Different
think
coffee
that
hour.
there are people that don't attend coffee.
Well, that
hour.
was
It's
my-
harder that they attended at the.
It's either
general
too
store.
busy
There
or,
are a couple
yeah.
of groups.
So I guess
It
it's just
won't-
thinking
whatever
about what
you do
we're
is not gonna interfere with it.
space wise trying to do, because I was asked about mirrors for the exercise classes. It's a multifunctional room, so we can't really,
Yeah.
you know, we don't have the space to be like, this is your room.
Wall.
Right, so, I guess that's just the next, you know, thinking of that. We are on to appointment expirations for the COA board. Kate
What we
and
doing?
Karen, you guys were
We're
last
doing
year.
it
Yeah.
well.
Did you get re-sworn in?
Yes,
We
and
did
forward
together,
all
we
that?
both
Okay.
went together.
Okay. Speaking of the town website, you guys still look expired from 5/24, so I was like, I think they, but then I
We
saw an
did.
email
My-
from Victoria.
My
and-
face cream
yeah.
isn't up to snuff.
Yeah. But this year, we have Bob
that
and
last year?
Kat that
That's
will
last year?
expire on 5/31.
Well, that sounds a little
Yeah,
ominous. I'm not
there's-
planning to expire.
So your position as on the
Oh,
board,
position,
your
okay.
appointment on the board. So,
No, it was-
again, you have
Yeah.
plenty of time
Yep.
to, but just wanted to bring it up. It's a month away.
January.
Again, we would need to re-swear in and
You're gonna get sworn in.
select board appoint you, so either way, just let me know what you're thinking.
Oh, it would. What's your feeling?
I don't know, I've been on. for
We did it.
years.
Okay. Point is, we did it.
Don't laugh. I've been on since
So you've
the
been. for-
70s.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, my gosh.
I've been on here a long time. I was on when we met down at Northbrook,
Okay.
when they were building Northbrook.
Wow.
Yeah, the community building was supposed to be the council on aging
Yeah.
space.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, smaller. than
I've
this.
grown old.
You've also seen a few things, huh?
Huh?
I've heard a few
You
things.
know stuff.
Know stuff.
I know nothing.
Are you staying?
That means you know a lot.
So think
Yeah.
about
Are you staying?
staying,
I
not
don't know. I
staying.
get tired.
Ah,
The other thing that, chair and co-chair, so we would have to, if one or both decide not to, then we would have to put it to a vote again on who's
You
chair.
could,
or
you could
whatnot.
anyway. I'm not, I haven't glued myself to the position chairperson. I
No.
think it
Well,
makes
you're not
sense.
leaving.
Pass it. Who?
I know.
Okay, well, yeah,
I am now, see how I
Okay,
zoomed
alright,
through the
like,
rest of that?
No one's leaping for the responsibilities there.
So that's just, yeah. so
No
just-
one will take the secretary job
just-
either, John.
So,
It's time to the young people to step up.
well, you know what, and that's, I was just having that conversation with somebody today. I'm 45, not afraid to put it out there.
Kid.
Kid,
And
that's right,
my
really.
group are the ones that should be, right, we are the ones that should be getting this information, right? So when people are in this 65 to 80, they've already gone past the getting the information ahead of what they're doing. So it's really like my generation, my friends, knowing the information for their parents, I
Yeah.
guess, is kind of.
Right, right.
So when you say, you know, the younger, trying intergenerational things and stuff like that to bring up the younger folks to do
I
things.
think Berlin is a wonderful town to bring your children
Mhm.
into, and the people in Berlin. I married a Berlin boy, so I came from Shrewsbury
Ah,
to here.
okay.
From away.
I
that a
come
change for
away.
you?
That's right. I worked in Worcester
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Gee.
So it's, but
Are you accepted yet?
Probably not. My son, because I'm a wheeler,
Right, yeah.
okay?
Ah, okay.
But I think,
Yeah.
I think you learn that everybody is very helpful if you let them be,
Right.
Yeah.
right.
you know? And I think especially, I know myself, because I worked in Berlin Elementary, I worked in Tohoto,
Mhm.
and I left and went to Westboro.
Yeah,
And I enjoyed my day when I retired as much as I did when I worked in the kitchen here. So it's a wonderful place to have a family, and it's nice to be able to go out in the yard and yell to your neighbors.
yeah. Cause you still
Although
know your
now that
neighbors.
I see neighbors walking down my street and I don't even know who
Who they
they
are.
are.
Yeah, that definitely
Because there's a
happens.
lot of new people,
Mhm.
but if you
Right.
give people a chance, they all welcome
Yeah, I
each
agree.
other.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
very much alike.
Very
I'm, to be honest, I mean, that's part of why I applied for the position, you know, we owned the store and, it was
Oh, you're
such
the
a,
lady that owns the store?
my parents did, yes,
Oh,
4 years
okay,
ago.
okay.
Yeah, 4 years ago, the
Street?
general store.
Ah,
Yeah, my parents owned it for like 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was the manager, but I really did everything and it just
It's-
became a lot for one person, but,
Yes.
it was a very welcoming community.
Oh,
We
yes.
did have some ties, you know, my parents did know some people, but, it was just, I wanted to help. I wanted to give back because I just felt like we were so welcomed.
Yeah.
So the community is
It's a- it's-
itself is a good
Yep,
thing to have. We just need to try to get some people going and some
Mm-hmm.
younger folks with us. But I think it's across the board, Pat. I think every group is, I'm on the Rotary in Clinton and we're struggling for membership. I know the Knights of Columbus struggles.
Lions Club.
We're not, with the generation, our generation doesn't do the things that I guess our predecessors and family before, you know, it was if you were in the Rotary or continuing on. So I think it's across the board that we're struggling with the younger groups getting in
But
there.
you're a younger group and you're gonna bring in younger ideas, and there isn't anything wrong with that. Because we brought in from people that were like 20 years older than I was when I came. And I acknowledge that because I was a young person, who my folks never got involved in the town of Shrewsbury. My neighbors did, and therefore I did. I can remember one Sunday I went to 3 different churches just because my girlfriends went.
This is how you got to hang out with your friends. You don't.
That's right. You know, do what everybody else, but it's a wonderful town, and I think that we all have something to give.
Mm.
But this town, I think, has been a wonderful town. I just, you know, never been sorry that I came here, as much as my folks were sorry.
I agree. It's been very welcome.
Huh?
here. I've been here for 16 years. and-
Yeah, you know, you're here, and I had a group, you know, that was, like I said, were 20 to 25 years older than me and took me. This is how we do it. Okay, that's how we. do
Now
it.
that-
And now that I'm here,
So continue.
this is how we did it,
Yeah.
16 years.
but you learn.
Yeah,
So it's done
yeah, I mean, it's gonna
today.
take some time, and I think we collectively have some ideas and things. I just think, I think Monday will be telling of where we go with the van, just kind of thinking about, you know, what happens.
Good direction.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, There's a lot of moving pieces up here, and they're not fit together yet. I swear. So, does anybody have anything that wasn't discussed or anything to chime in on? Any questions?
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wow, you didn't
I'll
give us
make a
a
motion
chance.
to adjourn.
Yeah, everybody good? Okay.
Pat Wheeler,
What do you want?
What do you want?
say you'd like to adjourn. You don't have to say it that way. You can say yes.
Yes.
John Barrett,
Yes.
Kate Bliss,
Yes.
Bob Larius,
Kate.
Aaron Schultz.
Yes.
Linda Robinson,
Yes.
yes. Lori Fairbank.
Yes, too. It's a good thing you
All right.
leave her out.
Thank you
You
all.
should put her.
Thank
first.
you, everybody.
See you.